If I could have everyone's attention just for a moment. We're going to be starting in about 2 or 3 minutes, so we're going to ask that everyone take seats or stand along the sides. We're broadcasting this live to San Jose and a number of other locations, so we're asking that we keep the back area clear where the cameras are. And that's about it. About 90 seconds starting. Thanks.
Welcome Vice President Corporate Communications, Sony Electronics, Rick Clancy.
Good morning. I'm very pleased that you could join us here today, both here in New York and at Sony Electronics in San Jose, where today's press conference is being transmitted live via satellite. We're also pleased that we're able to transmit this conference to some folks with AT&T in New Jersey today. As you will hear and experience firsthand, creative communications is what our press conference today is all about. And for this reason, we're very excited about making today's announcements on the soundstage of Sony Music Studios, itself a center for creative communications of a different sort. Before we begin the program, I'd like to take a moment to introduce some special guests who have joined us today. First, Michael Schulhoff, the President and Chief Operating Officer of Sony Corporation of America. Welcome, Mickey. Jeff Sagansky, Executive Vice President of Strategic Planning for Sony Corporation of America. Hi, Jeff. And Kazi Mai, the President of Sony Electronics Personal Information Company. Hello, Kaz. Now, we'd also like to welcome the many software and service providers who have joined us today, as well as other executives from member companies in the General Magic Alliance. You'll have a chance to meet them after the Q&A. Now, I'd like to just take a few moments explaining this morning's program to you. We'll begin with brief presentations about Sony's strategy for the personal communications market and about our specific product launch plans. You'll also hear from executives of AT&T and General Magic, after which we'll have a full question and answer session. Then we have a little fun in store for you that you'll see later on. After which you'll be invited to join us for a buffet lunch where you'll have ample opportunity to talk with executives from Sony, AT&T, General Magic, and our software partners. So now I have the distinct pleasure of introducing the President and Chief Operating Officer of Sony Electronics, Carl Yankowski.
Good morning. This is really a pleasure to be here today, and I'm delighted to be with you, not just as the president of Sony Electronics, but actually as an avid user of the products and the services that we're announcing today. Magic Link, over the last half a year, has become my constant personal companion. And our event this morning is more than just a new product launch. It's an important step forward in creating an entirely new category of personal communications. So what I'd like to do really is share some of our strategy for Magic Link and how it plays an important role in our commitment to develop this market. The simple fact is, I'm personally very excited about Magic Link, not just because it's a new technology, but because of what it does for me and what it can do for you and for all the other people out there to simplify our business and our personal communications. When I'm in a plane, 2 weeks ago, flying back and forth to Tokyo, my car, my hotel, back at my home and in the office, I personally use Magic Link to send messages, to receive information, and to get things done on my schedule, not someone else's. This is like an extra pair of arms and legs. It's like having an extra person working for me wherever I go. Now, when I originally got involved with the Magic Link project, the very first electronic message I sent to our engineering and marketing teams was a challenge. I said, if you want me and other people like me to buy this product, then please make it so easy that even a non-technically oriented CEO can use it and want to use it. Now, I'm an engineer, so I'm interested in bits and bytes. But I'm also a businessman, and we are not particularly impressed by technology for its own sake. For a product to excite me personally, it has to add value and it has to enhance my professional and my personal life. And simply put, it must bring the benefits of advanced technology to meet the needs of the end user, in this case, me. Identifying real customer benefits and then developing easy-to-use, practical and engaging solutions to meet these needs is the true index of success for this new generation of digital technologies. It's been much discussed with prior evolutions of these types of products in the past that they've fallen short of expectations. But now when it comes to personal communications, we're not talking about a faraway dream, it is a practical reality, and Magic Link is a significant advancement down this road. At Sony, we place a very great importance on personalizing technology. It is absolutely central to who we are as a company, from the first portable transistor radio through the 3.5-inch floppy disk that really opened up laptop and notebook computing, the digital compact disc, the Handycam camcorder, mini disc, and of course, everybody knows the Walkman story. Each of these in its own way help to revolutionize personal entertainment and information. And Magic Link is no different. We are applying this experience to redefining personal communications in terms of the needs of the end user. And Sony is no newcomer to this. We've had lots of experience. Over 4 years ago, we introduced the palm-top computers in Japan, and we learned. It was never introduced in the US, but our experience with these units shaped much of our thinking about the ease of use of Magic Link today in 2 key areas. First, and this is absolutely important, an open architecture is critical to developing a new market. It leaves the opportunity for the product to develop in an addictive, personal way, and this is why the general Magic platform is so appealing to us, and the participation of AT&T and other industry leaders is so important. Open architecture. Second, simple, intelligent communications is really what the customer wants, and that, in a nutshell, is what Magic Link is all about. And we've learned something else that's very important to each of us in this room, and that is that realizing the potential of personal communications is a process, not an event at a point in time. Magic Link really is only the start of a long journey and not the final destination. There is a Chinese proverb that I learned in Hong Kong that says, every journey of 1,000 miles starts with its first step. This is our important first step. This young industry has been plagued by unrealistic expectations. There are no one-minute revolutions here. Technological change, developing new markets, and winning consumer confidence will not happen overnight. You know that. You know about the overpromise that has existed in this industry previously. So simply put, it's going to take time, patience, and commitment to build this next phase in personal communications. At Sony, we feel that we are very realistic about this, and we are determined to go the distance. You have my personal commitment on that. And I think this perspective is particularly true for the development of the larger information superhighway. Sony's approach will never be technology for technology's sake, but rather providing practical products to become a natural part of our everyday lives to help us. And Magic Link represents one of the many initiatives in this area for Sony Corporation. So stay tuned. The real message here today is that this is only the beginning. And moreover, to build the personal communications market, no one company or even one industry can do it alone. And today's announcement is a wonderful example of how consumer electronics, computer, and communication companies can work together. This is convergence in action. We hear it talked about in the information superhighway. We're living it right here. The Magic Link communicator and the AT&T personal link services are the first fruits of this technological and market convergence, and we look forward to many more examples in the years to come. And perhaps most important, Magic Link represents the continued emergence of Sony Electronics as an integrated company in the United States. In a very real sense, Magic Link is Sony in miniature. It's a cross-section of our company and how we are translating our visions of the future into practical products today. Magic Link closely integrates engineering and design, manufacturing and marketing, and sales and support. You'll see it all here today, brought directly to business and consumers at retail. And it also represents hardware and software integration, very important within our company and with other industry leaders. Further, since we all know that the United States is where the market is most quickly emerging for these types of products, we have made Silicon Valley the center of Sony's worldwide operations for personal communications. By basing our engineering and design teams here in the United States, we can interact creatively with the best minds in hardware, software, and communications. And that's exactly what we're doing with this product. More importantly, this system. More importantly, the end benefits for the users. We can also move very quickly to meet changing user needs and take immediate advantage of new opportunities in this dynamic industry as it evolves. And we don't know exactly how it's going to evolve today. So by integrating these elements of Sony in the United States, we're working in very close cooperation with our global management teams in Japan and Europe. And this allows us here to tap the full range of Sony's creativity and resources in what will ultimately surely be a truly international marketplace. So once again, this is a wonderful moment for us. I thank you for joining us. I think you're going to find the presentations today both interesting and informative. But better still, as a user myself, I know that you're going to appreciate taking Magic Link for your own test drive. In fact, do me a favor. Send me a message. Tell me what you think. I check my personal link mail regularly. I'd love to hear from you. That's exactly what personal communications is all about. You can do it easily, at your convenience, when you want. And now I'd like to introduce Sony's Brian Sroub to tell us more about our Magic Link and a little bit about our specific objectives for the personal communications market. Thank you very much. Brian?
Thank you, Carl. You've heard lots about the long-term vision for the personal communicator market. I'm here today to talk about how we at Sony are taking the first steps in transforming this vision into a reality. As Carl pointed out, we have a highly focused business strategy for Magic Link that includes a carefully defined audience, a product design driven by clearly identified user needs, and a targeted sales and marketing program. We believe that eventually the market for personal communicator products will be quite large. But the more relevant questions are how and when. Before it reaches its full potential, the market will grow in stages. Imagine this growth curve is shaped like a hockey stick. Today we are at the handle, and we should expect near-term growth to be relatively modest. Growth will increase significantly as new communications infrastructures are put in place. As that develops, we at Sony will also introduce a range of products and services to meet the needs of the different segments of the marketplace. That's when the growth will really take off. We've seen this pattern in other new technology markets, such as personal computers, cellular phones, fax machines, VCRs, and compact discs. We expect that personal communicators will follow suit. What this means is we do not plan to sell a personal communicator to every man, woman, and child in America in 1994. Rather, our objective is to focus on a very specific audience, the mobile professional. It has been widely estimated that there are about 27 million mobile professionals in the United States. Within this broad audience, we are targeting Magic Link to reach a smaller group that we refer to as the technology optimists. These are mobile professionals who need communication on the go, and they seek and are enthusiastic about the way technology improves productivity and enhances their lives. We believe that there are about 6 million people in this segment. A key driver of this strategy is the tremendous explosion of the email culture. Every day, 20 to 40 million people log on to various types of email networks and online services. The mobile professional is a heavy messaging user. And I suspect that many of us here today live our lives as mobile professionals, so if you're like me, sending and receiving messages is a way that we stay in touch and exchange information with those in our workplace, as well as those across time zones. When we're away from the office, we're disconnected. That's why the mobile professional needs tools that provide easy connection to this vast array of email and online services. And these tools need to be robust enough to take advantage of the new, more advanced services now under development. That's why we designed Magic Link to deliver significant improvements over the messaging devices and services available today. One important way to improve electronic messaging is to make it easier to connect to a wide range of email services. We do this by integrating messaging with the personal information management resources that are part of our everyday lives. In our product, communications are integrated with your Rolodex, scheduler, spreadsheet program, and expense management software. To do this, Magic Link provides email, telephone, fax, and paging capabilities right out of the box. Messaging has been tightly integrated with Magic Link's built-in personal information management tools like no other product available on the market today. Just as important, for incoming messages, you can set priorities for which information you want to receive and when. This allows you to put on hold unimportant email and to respond quickly to the messages that you consider to be most vital. At the same time, Magic Link makes it easier to add personality to your messages with ink, graphics, and voice stamps. This integration, prioritization, and personalization makes Magic Link an intelligent messaging device. This is made possible by the highly intuitive Magic App platform from General Magic and by AT&T Personal Link Services, which is the first to harness the communications power of Telescript. Magic App and Telescript are the basis of a new communications infrastructure. Through the General Magic Alliance, which includes AT&T, Sony, and others, we are laying the foundation for the personal communicator industry. In keeping with Sony's track record for introducing new technologies and building new markets, we have a multi-pronged business plan that directly targets those 6 million technology optimists. Beginning today, Magic Link is available for sale at more than 1,000 select consumer electronics stores nationwide. The suggested retail price is $995. These retailers were strategically chosen because they know how to educate the customer on new technologies. Many are already providing a variety of communications and information products to our targeted business customer. We're implementing our strategy in close cooperation with the leading electronics dealers. We've consulted with them for more than a year on this. Based on these discussions, we developed a retail training program for both Sony's Magic Link and AT&T's Personal Link services. There are also interactive point-of-purchase displays and educational advertising campaigns to inform the customer about personal communicators. In addition to this carefully targeted retail initiative, we are aggressively pursuing direct sales to corporate America through Sony's billion-dollar Business and Professional Products Group. This dedicated sales force will develop the corporate market opportunities, taking advantage of Magic Link to meet the specific needs of a range of industries. But perhaps our most important commitment is to listen and be nimble. How many successful computer products can you name that stopped at version 1.0? The winners in this category will be those who do the best job of listening to the customer and responding quickly with even better products and services. That's why we have made customer service and support a top priority. Magic Link has a specially trained customer service team that can be reached 7 days a week, starting today, by calling 1-800-55-MAGIC. We are also listening and interacting online. Today, we are launching the Sony Magic Link online forum on America Online. And of course, we listen carefully to our retailers as well. This information will all be fed into our Silicon Valley-based engineering team, AT&T, General Magic, and the third-party software developers. This will help us create software that can be quickly distributed through the Personal Link network, making us even more responsive. So what's the bottom line? We've identified a clear audience, the mobile professionals, who have a clear need for intelligent, engaging, easy-to-use messaging. We've developed a unique product based upon the creativity of the General Magic Alliance, strong support from AT&T, and close cooperation with other service and software providers. And we've tapped the best of Sony's R&D, manufacturing, and sales and marketing expertise. We're bringing Magic Link to the market at the right time, just as email and electronic messaging are gaining widespread acceptance and are poised for even more rapid growth. We're reaching the target customer through national distribution across both the electronics retailers and business-to-business channels. And we're supporting the product with an innovative advertising, training, and support program. It all adds up to a practical, realistic approach to building the personal communicator marketplace. Still, the best way to understand the power and potential of personal communicators is to let Magic Link speak for itself. And so to demonstrate Magic Link and just a few of its many capabilities, it's my pleasure to introduce Alex Gruzen of Sony's Personal Information Company. Alex?
Well, this is a moment I've been looking forward to for quite a while. I get to show you and tell you about Magic Link, but more importantly, demonstrate for you how Magic Link, in combination with the Personal Link service, can really ease your communication tasks. Let me briefly review the hardware. We start with an LCD touchscreen, high resolution with 4 grayscales. Because Magic Link is a communicator, we have a built-in modem, built-in integrated fax modem. We have a mic and speaker, both for sound feedback and to let you add voice annotation to messages. And we have a PCMCIA PC card slot, which allows you to have expanded memory and other peripherals that we've developed for that slot. But enough about the hardware. Let me just show you how Magic Link can work for you. I'd like to start just by generating a message. I mean, this is the core of Magic Link, simple, easy-to-use messaging. Most of you are probably familiar with the desktop from prior presentations from General Magic. So let's just start by creating a message. And I'll address this to Carl Yankowski. As Carl told you, he's an active user. Now, whenever I type in a text field, in this case, I'm going to give the subject of the message, an on-screen keyboard automatically pops up. Now, this is one of the advantages for us of having gone to a landscape mode LCD. It gives us a large, easy-to-use, actually functional QWERTY-style keyboard. Now, as I said, sound feedback is very important. So here we've actually reproduced the key clicks, although most of us don't hear that too often these days. Excuse me. Well, that's a great statement to be able to make. We're finally on sale. Now, the keyboard is useful, but I like to personalize my messages. And with the capabilities of Personal Link, I'll just sign the message. And there's some urgency to this. I want to make sure Carl gets it immediately. So I'm going to add an urgent stamp. Now, stamps aren't just graphics, although to the user, that's all they need to know. But the stamp actually has scripts which lie behind it, and identify this as an urgent message, both to the Magic Link and to the network. Now, typically in business, we have to share the information with more than one person. Sharing original information among a group is probably one of the greatest advantages of electronic messaging. So let me add some other addressees to this message. And let's see, Dick Schaefer, I think you're probably here in the audience. So why don't we just add you, and in fact, we'll use your MCI mail account just to show the variety of connectivity that is supported through Personal Link service. We could also add, let's add this fax machine right here, for example. This is under Sony Music Studios. And also, let's add Doug Brackbill from SkyTel to show that there is a paging gateway between AT&T and the SkyTel services. Now you'll notice that there's this bullet point next to Doug's name. That means that this stamp, now the stamp is the graphical description of the means by which I'm going to reach someone, now says pager via AT&T Personal Link. Again, Magic Cap provides a very easy to understand graphical representation of what is often a complicated task of routing messages through various networks. If I tap on Dick Schaefer's name, it says MCI mail via AT&T Personal Link. And again, AT&T has developed very robust gateways to these other services. And then finally, with Sony Music Studios, the stamp changes. Now we're going to take advantage of the fax modem capabilities and actually send directly to this fax located over here. To send this message, all I have to do is tap send. It goes into my outbox, and because it's an urgent message, my Magic Link will dial immediately and deliver these. Now you'll notice it's dialing the fax first. There also is a fax gateway on the AT&T Personal Link service. So if I wanted to deliver a fax to many people, many places across the country, and you can see it's coming in already, maybe I would choose to use the Personal Link fax gateway and just make the one call to Personal Link and let the fax be distributed out. Well, there we go. No? It's somebody turned the power off, actually. So, well, we can't solve that problem, but let's see if there's a switch here. Maybe the power cord. Well, at least it's dialing, right? You can see I'm trying to deliver. You know what I'll do? Let's just stop that. Let me. I'm going to edit this and actually remove the. There, we've stopped that, and I'm going to edit this and just do a little trick here, and we'll take Sony Music Studios out of that, and let me send this again. There we go. So now let's just deliver to Personal Link, and maybe we'll test that later. I'll show you after the demo. So now this message is being delivered to Personal Link services, and because Magic Cap is a multitasking environment, let me just put this into the background, and I can show you that there's other forms of stationery. What this message I created was a simple postcard. But here in the desk drawer are a variety of stationaries that can give you a much more formal look to the communications you need to send, whether it's by fax or through the Personal Link service. Now that sort of messaging, text, handwriting, stamps, is only one form of how people in business today communicate. When I was traveling on the road up until recently, I always used to carry an Apple PowerBook. Well, there we filed a copy away. I don't carry that anymore. I only carry my Magic Link. And about 80% of the reason I carried a PowerBook was to access my electronic mail. The other 20% was to do financial analysis, spreadsheets. And we think that's indicative of our target customer that Brian has described earlier. So through the software we've bundled in here, we were able to address some of our target customers' other business needs. So let me describe for you and show you a spreadsheet program that we've bundled in. It's called Pencell. It's from a company called Penware. And let me demonstrate now the Pencil application. There's also some other software that we've bundled, again, looking at our target customer. From day one, you're ready to sign up for Personal Link services right out of the box. You can sign up for America Online, or even if you're a current user, you can use America Online. There's a spell checking program from Sony Software, because we know for business documents, you need to check the spelling before you send it out. Maybe I could have used that in my first attempt at writing that message. And we have some games for those long waits in an airport lounge. And finally, let me just start with our demo of Pencil. Now, I've shown you earlier that Carl was a user of Personal Link. I addressed the last message to him. But if we look at the screenshot now, what you'll see in just a moment is the ability to share not just text and handwriting information, but also financial information. Here's a spreadsheet I've created to talk about our technical support team out in San Jose. We have a dynamite group out there, and we've been tracking the amount of calls coming in each day. But just as MagicCap through graphical interface makes it easier to use, often understanding financial information is easier in a graphical format. So let me just make a chart based on this data using the charting features of Pencil. I'll make it a bar chart. And now we have a simple graphic which represents this data that I need to share with Carl. All I have to use is the mailing commands to send this, address this message to Carl and deliver it. Now, Pencil didn't have to develop special messaging capabilities. The very fact that it was developed for the MagicCap platform means it becomes a communicating application. Even a spreadsheet becomes a communicating application. Let's send this to Carl. All right, this is the important information. I need Carl to review this. When he gets this message, he simply taps on that chart and he can view the graphic. This is what communication should be. This is what communication is when you're located in the same office, collaborating with your colleagues. And with Magic Link, why Magic Link can be so valuable to business people today is that now that same easy collaboration can take place across multiple time zones. I'm in California, Brian is in New Jersey, and we use it every day for all of our business communication, just like this. Now, another way that Sony has attempted to fulfill the needs of our target customers is through the accessories and peripherals that we've built. So let me briefly review those with you. What I showed you was a quick message that I typed off of my first message this morning. And I used the on-screen keyboard. But we know there's times you're going to be back at the hotel room and you're needing to create a long message back to the office. For that purpose, we have created a special accessory keyboard. It's a full-size QWERTY keyboard, plugs into the ports just on the side of your Magic Link, no special loading of software, plug in anytime, and type away. That's really valuable. I tend to keep that in my suitcase, use it in the hotel in the evenings. We've also created a telephone headset. Now you have all of your personal information, your contact information, loaded into your Magic Link. You're connected to a phone line because you've just downloaded your mail. Why not take advantage of the telephony features of MagicCap and use those phone numbers to dial, make your calls, even automatically dial your credit card number for you. Also, a situation that's happened to me is I've missed calls because I've been connected to the only phone in that hotel room. I've been connected to download my messages. And before I plug that hotel phone back in, someone has called me. With any notebook or laptop computer, you'd miss that call. With Magic Link, you can actually answer it and even log the information. If you're a consultant or a lawyer, you need to track the time on each call. You could tap on one button and log the call and take notes. Now, one of the most important technologies in designing a platform of products such as Magic Link is power issues. And Sony has taken advantage of some unique Sony technology in the lithium-ion batteries. Now, with traditional NiCad batteries, you have to follow a very specific discharge and charging cycle. With lithium-ion, that's not important. You can charge any time. And we think that's critical for our mobile professionals who don't want to be a slave to their battery schedule. They want to charge when it's convenient for them. And with that lithium-ion battery, you have about 10 to 12 hours of continuous use. Now, for all of us, if you put that into a user model of checking messages, doing a spreadsheet, making some replies, sending them off, and going on to your next meeting, we find that over a few days, you don't even have to recharge at all. We've also taken advantage of the PCMCIA, the PC card slot, to create a memory card, which is our 1 megabyte SRAM card. It's the first Magic Link memory card peripheral, which allows you to extend the user area for storage of documents, received mail, spreadsheets, or any other information you create or receive on your Magic Link. Now, finally, I'd like to demonstrate our pager card. We know that wireless technology and the delivery of messages through a wireless means is very important to today's mobile professional who's on the move. So we have worked to create the Magic Link pager card, which all I have to do is slide this in to the slot. No loading of special software. MagicCap right now is recognizing that I've inserted the pager card, and you'll see it automatically loads in the messages into the inbox. Again, MagicCap has such strong user interface that there's no need to develop a separate application. We're taking advantages of the user interface that the customer understands, and now this message has arrived into my inbox. So let's take a look and see what's in there. You see there are 3 pages. The most recent one, you'll see there's no check mark. These are 2 I received earlier. The most recent one is a numeric page. Standard numeric paging, but with a twist through software that Sony has developed. We've taken the phone number and actually referenced our name card file. And we found that this message came from my colleague, Dave Cotto, in California. So I don't think I can call him back right now, but maybe a little later. And if I had the telephone headset plugged in, I could even tap right here on this phone button and immediately generate the call back. But not only that, now that I know it's Dave Cotto, and on his name card, I have several electronic mail addresses, most importantly, the personal link address, I could also reply to him directly through an electronic mail message. Or I could send him a fax, or even maybe a return page. Let's look at the next page. Received a message about Magic. Now, this is a feature that I want to go into in a moment. This is what we call a notification page. This is sent to me through the use of a telescript agent that I have sent into my mailbox in PersonalLink. In a moment, I'll show you how an individual on the move can just spur of the moment create their own telescript agent that pages them when important messages arrive. We think this is the real value of wireless messaging. When I know exactly the status of my mailbox, I know who sent me a message, and it's the messages that are important to me. When I get a message from Brian Sroub, for example, I want to know about it. From Carl, I want to know about it. Then I will collect and download the full rich message. And then finally, alpha text, alpha paging. And in this case, a message sent through the PersonalLink service. And when a page is sent through PersonalLink to the SkyTel gateway, the sender's name and the subject of the message precedes the text. So our software parses that out and lets me have alpha text that I can now cut and paste into other documents or forward to my colleagues. It's no longer trapped on my belt. It's alive, useful information that I can share with the people who need to know about it. So I just mentioned how I can create a telescript agent. Now, I'm sure you'll hear more about the future of telescript development at AT&T and at General Magic. But I think this is one of the easiest to understand ways that a customer will use telescript today and agents today. Let's go out to the Personal Link Center, which is located downtown. And here in the AT&T Personal Link Center, there's a rules area. There are rules that represent telescript agents that I can load into my mailbox in Personal Link, having to do with forwarding messages based on sender and subject name, or combinations thereof. Discarding messages, maybe from someone I don't want to hear from. I turn those on the weekends. And then finally, the paging rules. Now, these represent telescript agents that I've launched into the Personal Link service that act on my behalf. So right now, whenever Brian Sroub pages me, or rather, whenever he sends me a message through Personal Link, I get paged. And I know that's when I should dial up. If I'm waiting for an urgent message, let's say from Carl, today, all I have to do to create a new telescript agent is make a copy of Brian's rule, and I'll change the sender to Carl. When I accept this and leave the rules area, you'll notice now there's a new rule here for Carl. A new card is created, which gets launched into the Personal Link service. Now again, you have to separate the easy-to-use graphical representation here of a simple postcard from the telescript agent, which lies behind it. The attempt is to make it easy for customers and users to manipulate what is, in essence, a very complicated task. When I send this off to the Personal Link service, I've now created my own personal telescript agent that's going to page me anytime Carl sends me a message. And that's when I know to connect to a phone line and download the full, rich, detailed content of the message, which maybe has a reply to my spreadsheet, to my chart, maybe has his handwriting and text. So we combine the broad availability of SkyTel services with the rich messaging that's possible by connecting directly to Personal Link through the phone line. So in this demonstration, I've really only been able to skim the surface of what Magic Link can do for you. I hope that after the formal presentation is over, you'll spend time with each of our software developers and actually get some hands-on time with our Magic Link device. I think you'll find that the wide variety of peripherals that we've developed really add some unique functionality to the Magic Cat platform that you might have seen before. So now to talk a little bit more about where AT&T Personal Link services are going and how you'll be putting Telescript to work for you, I'd like to introduce Gordon Bridge from AT&T.
Well, thank you very much, Alex, and I thought the demonstration guides were generally pretty good to you. I'm not going to demonstrate any further, but I would like to echo what Carl had to say, that my personal communicator is a Magic Link device, and I've also been a proud member of both the alpha and beta test activity that's been going on, leading up to today's very exciting announcement. I'd also like to thank Carl and the entire Sony team for allowing AT&T to coincidentally announce our general availability of Personal Link, that in addition to the products is also fully operational and available today, ready for consumers to buy and hopefully enjoy in their use. This is a very personally exciting day for me. My experience in this industry goes back 28 years, and to be very honest with you, I've been involved in some very exciting projects that I won't bore you with, this being right at the top of the list. And it's not very often as an individual, since my association goes back to February of 1991, that you're left in a big company environment like AT&T in a job that allows you to see the beginning to the end. And so personally, this is a very exciting day for me and for our team. Maybe uncharacteristically for a big company, AT&T decided that we were going to aggressively join this alliance. By September of 1991, we had the beginnings of our team in place. And later on that fall, I was proud to join the Magic Alliance and become eventually a board member. And it was the first time that I had the pleasure to meet Mickey Schuhoff, who, along with Marc Porat, probably deserves as much credit as anybody in getting us here today. And Mickey, I thank you for that. It's been a very exciting experience. And like I said, one of the unique opportunities is to see this thing come alive, so to speak. Before I go any further, I would be remiss, since my team, 150 of the brightest, most enthusiastic people that you can imagine, most of whom are not in this room, but are watching via closed-circuit television. I would be remiss if I didn't tell them that how proud I am of what they have done over the past couple of years, and how pleased I am that the reception so far has been so positive. I'd also like to congratulate the magicians that are watching on the West Coast. They are our teammates, and it has been a sincere pleasure, albeit a unique opportunity for a small company and a big company to work together. And I'm very pleased and proud of everything you've done as well. And last, and certainly not least, the AT&T Sony partnership that brings us here today is in many ways unparalleled. And again, I'll let all of you, as you learn more about what we have built in a very unique way, this experience that can only be realized by the integration of the service that we've built, the exciting device that they've developed, obviously using the exciting technology from General Magic. So, in one way, this is an announcement of a general availability of the first commercially available intelligent assistant or intelligent agent-enabled service in the history of mankind. It's a network that's more like a platform that we think will open up new opportunities for third-party developers and service providers. Our goal is to provide a means for a wide range of people and companies and institutions to take advantage of this network resource and the applications that they develop. A resource that allows them to become the providers of networked applications in a short time frame without the kind of pain and aggravation oftentimes associated with existing networks. It's the first completely object-oriented design and analysis service that's ever been developed before. And that allows us, along with the General Magic folks, to enhance, listen to customers, and develop new extensions very quickly. Now, from day one, PersonalLink subscribers, as was mentioned earlier, not only allows you to reach out and touch someone, but it literally allows you on day one to reach out and touch those 20 to 40 million current email users, not to mention literally every fax machine except for one, around the world. The network allows you to send messages, as Alex mentioned, in all kinds of form, in text and in written form, in sketches, and voice annotation as well. And it provides a full encryption and the most comprehensive security and privacy measures available today. Now, the PersonalLink service is the first commercial service that really gives the subscribers the power of these intelligent assistants, or what the press likes to call intelligent agents, that of course have been brought to life as a result of telescripts. And these agents, they can communicate, they can gather information for you, they can customize it, as you saw, and they can act on a user's behalf even when the device is not turned on. And this PersonalLink environment is an environment that provides these assistants kind of the oxygen that they need to do the useful work that they're on their owner's behalf. Now, one place that we have invested in an area with kind of a no expense spared is our new customer service area down in Raleigh, North Carolina. Using state-of-the-art workstations, we give our customer support reps access to the information they need to support any and all inquiries that may come from customers, whether it involves billing or other kinds of utilization of the network. This is an area where we have paid as much attention to our capability here as the functionality that you'll see in the service itself. Now, I think that in many ways, one of the important stories here is the alliance and the teamwork that we all seem to be referencing. We all shared a common vision, and it hasn't been easy necessarily to work as a team. That's always true whether you're working for the same company or different companies. General Magic, of course, and Marc and his team deserve the credit for having the vision and coming up with the kind of revolutionary technologies which really push the state-of-the-art envelope. And I'm here to tell you today, along with Sony, we have teamed not only in terms of developing a new joint offering, but also teamed in developing a marketing campaign and a way to approach the developers in a coordinated way. You know, this is an alliance based on relationships. And in my 28 years in this marketplace, it is unparalleled to ever see, in this case, 3 great companies, 2 big, 1 small, come together and offer in an integrated way an end-to-end solution. Having worked for 2 great big companies, I would tell you that's tough enough to do when you're part of one company. And so it gives me especially great pleasure to be sharing the stage with these 2 other great companies. And in that regard, it's a special pleasure to introduce the founder, chairman, the CEO, and the leader, both visionary and spiritual leader of this Magic Alliance, my friend and colleague, Marc Porat. Marc?
Well, as you can imagine, Gordon and all of you, it's great to be here. And there's a particularly delicious coincidence that some of you who came here may have noticed outside. Across the street is what I believe to be the largest AT&T switching center in the United States and probably in the world. And here we are sitting in a Sony Music soundstage recording studio. It's architecturally symbolic that 2 companies across the street from each other can work together. This is about you. It has always been about you. It's about doing something that can touch the lives of lots and lots of people. We're not about changing the lives of the world or the world one technocrat at a time. Even though the beginning of this great voyage is about the mobile professional, the vision and the direction that we want to take this thing is to touch the lives of as many people as we possibly can in the most intimate and responsible way that we know how to. So it brings me back really to a time 3.5 years ago when General Magic was just a vision and a couple of people, a few people, maybe a half a dozen or so. And we got a visit from a guy by the name of Mickey Schulhoff. I didn't know, who Mickey was or anything, so he came to visit us. And he looked and he listened. He checked out the people. He sniffed. There was kind of intuition going there, not much analysis, I must say. And I was told later that in the elevator on the way down from my floor, our floor, to the ground floor, he said, "We're going to do this thing. We're going to do it. This is Sony. This is our heritage." He said some other things. We're going to do this thing. And Mickey, the obstetrician of this birthing, put us together with Oga-san, Norio Oga, the CEO of Sony, who listened to me and to Bill Atkinson. We went to visit him in Tokyo for hours. We were surrounded by some of his most senior executives, board members and so on. At the end of several hours, Oga-san said, "Marc," big smile on his face, "Marc, I really like this technology." So Bill and I got optimistic. And he said, "But we're a consensus culture." I'm about to give you some secrets of Sony. And the word consensus culture very often means I'll tell you in 5 years what I think. Well, Oga-san stood up and he said, "This is a great thing, and I want consensus by next Thursday." This is a Friday afternoon. And sure enough, Bill and I hung around and ate a lot of sushi, and the following Thursday, we were handed a letter from Sony, and it said, "We're in. Let's get going." Gordon's already shared with you his decisiveness. What he didn't tell you, which I'll fill in the blanks, is that from the time Gordon called me in May, after only a few months from our first meeting and said, we want in, to the time when he started staffing up, there was no agreement, there was no contract. Contracts didn't come until the end of the year. And in fact, the equity investment didn't come until the next year, January of the next year. They were up and running, using our technology, arguing, wrestling with our engineers, very collaborative, before there was a piece of paper signed. And that's been the nature of the relationship between General Magic and AT&T and Sony and General Magic, and now the three of us. It can symbolize what's going on outside. A great big huge switching center across the street, and what must have been some of the most wild and woolly people, characters occupying this very building, recording artists and all kinds of incredible talent. So, what are we doing? Today we're making the first steps. These are modest steps. It's a down payment on our vision that we had several years ago. But they're tangible. They are real. What matters to me, the most important words you'll probably hear today, is this afternoon, it's out there. The devices are out there and the service is out there. A couple of days ago, I was at a conference with some people, and a question came from the audience, which is a question I've heard a lot in the last 4 years. So, with a lot of attitude, when's all this stuff going to be ready? With a lot of attitude. And was it delicious and wonderful to say Wednesday? This is on a Monday. So we're here. First tangible steps. The word modest is more important than the word step. This is a down payment. What we all think is that we've created two platforms. We've been working on them very, very hard for 4 years. And I'd like to acknowledge in an incomplete way some of the people who worked on it. And what I'd like to do is to ask Andy Hertzfeld, software wizard, and Bill Atkinson, chief scientist, to stand up and say hi to everyone. For those of you who don't know, the wizard is the shorter one with a sweater, and the chief scientist is the taller one with a tie. They represent a whole group of people, which, by the way, is very uncharacteristic, Bill. I'm delighted to see you wearing a tie. They represent a whole group of people who could not be with us today for practical and expense reasons. They're back in San Jose watching this thing, I hope, on a satellite, although the satellite may have had suffered the same fate as the fax machine. And they represent, there's another group of people whose spiritual leader is Jim White, in whose mind the whole notion of telescript was hatched, and who really embodies and represents another group of brilliant people working in our communications group, the Telescript group. And the alloy of the MagicCap team and the Telescript team will create the great tools and the great applications that are going to bring both platforms to life. Again, you will see a down payment on that vision later today. Why Sony? Why AT&T? Sony's strengths, I'm not going to enumerate in any corporate sense whatsoever. The Sony people can do that for you, and their credentials and track record are awesome. Sony, to me, represents two things. One is quality, and the other is intimacy. When I think about taking something inanimate, cold, hard, electronic, something or other, and squeezing out of plastic and steel and silicon emotions, tears and laughter and joy and bodily motion, what I think about is, scratch bodily motion can be interpreted in different ways. What I think about is kind of the joy of life that things Sony has brought to us. In my house, I don't know, Mickey and Carl, how many Sony products there are. It's in the dozens, like 2 dozen, and probably will become 3 dozen by the time this is over. Sony, to me, represents intimacy. It is about the inside me. AT&T represents, again, quality, but one other really important attribute, which is trust. People are going to be using these devices as I've used it, as my wife has used it, my kids have used it. Some of you, many of you in the audience are using these things now all the time. It gets intimate. It gets to be about me and my secrets and things I want to say to people that shouldn't be violated. It will get, not this year, but next year and the year after, as the platforms flourish and grow, it'll get into transactions. My communities, my electronic communities, things I buy, things I sell, things I trade. And you know something? I, as a human being, this is about emotion, not about business strategy, want my communication to be handled by someone whose very name means trust. So intimacy, trust. Purely emotional words, not business words, are sort of the hallmark and the essence of Sony and AT&T. and we're delighted to be associated with them. It is truly an honor. Close collaboration, what for on a business sense? Well, we are about global standards. We feel that to make these two platforms come to life, first of all, they were architected by Andy and Jim White and Bill Atkinson and the teams to be long-term platforms. They will come into their own in several years, they will flourish, they will mature, they will grow. They will grow in unpredictable ways. One of the charms of both Telescript and Magic App is the very unpredictability of where they will go. They will go where you, the customer, the person who uses this stuff, want them to go. I think Sony wants to be nimble. We have something called big ears, and this is not Ross Perot territory. Big ears means our job now is to bury hubris. Hubris will kill General Magic more surely than anything else, and to listen to what is right and wrong with the platforms we've created, and to work really hard to make them better, and not to pretend that we're right ever. And the customer must never say, "I feel stupid." And those of you who've heard me before will remember that I always say that our design center is your self-esteem. That's our design center. It's not about communications or graphics or bitmaps or anything of that sort. It's not about multitasking and small kernels. It's about your self-esteem. It's about when you touch this object, which over time will become jewelry. Right now it's an object that looks like a piece of electronics. It will evolve into jewelry, personal jewelry. And when you touch it and use it and communicate with it, it's your self-esteem. We don't want you to feel dumb, stupid, inadequate, or anything else. The digital technology can often make you feel. Digital technology can be like razor blades. It can cut you. It can make you bleed. And what our job and what Bill and Andy have done and what PersonaLink has done and what Sony has done is keep smoothing and honing and smoothing and massaging until the entire experience is so fluid and so sweet that people say, and people have said to me, "Wow, I love this." In fact, not meaning to be retro or counter to the strategy that Sony has put into place, I would say that some of the warmest and most powerful response I've received has been from women, from seniors, from children, and from non-techno macho men who touch this and say, "I can do it," and are really pleased with the experience. And I'm sure the first X thousand, tens of thousands, maybe even more, will be sold precisely to the mobile, optimistic professional. I'm not trying to take anything away from that strategy. But beyond them is a whole other group. So where are we headed? We're headed into a 10-year roadmap, where now this is the first year of a 10-year roadmap with our partners. We cannot do this by ourselves at all, ever. All the muscle, all of the presence in the world comes through our partners, not through us. And it's a world which we call the electronic marketplace, which has a collection of vehicles, a collection of highways, and a collection of destinations. Very briefly, the vehicles. This is a vehicle. As surely as a truck or a sports car or a station wagon is a vehicle to go on a highway, vehicles like this, or like personal computers, or TVs, or video games, or screen phones, or ATM machines, by which I mean cash machines, not asynchronous transfer mode machines, point of sale. These are all different electronic vehicles through which people can jump into the highways of the world, which can be public or private, wireless or wireline, broadband or narrowband, to get someplace that they're interested in. And one of the most important things, in fact, is the destinations. The destinations are what draw you into the vehicle, into the car, to take you onto the highway, and to bring you someplace that you want to go. What are those destinations? Some are obligatory. You go home, you go to work. Some are pleasureful. You go to the movie theater, you go to the sports games. Some are practical. You go to the shopping mall to buy. And those destinations are the great apps that are going to start living on the AT&T PersonaLink network and start living on the Magic App personal communicator Magic Link. Those are the great destinations. That's what developers are about. And very soon I'll have the great pleasure of turning you over to see some of those developers. Before I go on, I'd like to recognize a few people. First, the leadership at Sony, obviously, Carl Yankowski, and Kaz Imai, who stood up for just a moment, but who could be standing this entire time. Kaz is the leader of the group, the business unit, working for Carl, whose job is to make this platform come to life and live. And Kaz, I would like you actually to stand up one more time, and people can see who he is. Also, you've already met Gordon Bridge, and I echo what Gordon said. We have become friends. We have become, we're joined in something very, very important. Ray Tringali could not be here, a feisty Marine from New Jersey, a guy I love dearly. Wherever you are floating around the country, Ray, this is for you. He's in San Jose. Thank you, Bill Fallon. And in fact, I would now like to acknowledge two people who have been with us from the very beginning. Sometimes you think of corporations making strategic decisions based on what the CEO or the chairman or people with fancy titles do. Sometimes it's about a person working in the company whose name sometimes comes out and sometimes doesn't, who says, I believe in this and I'm going to make it happen, damn it. Two people did that with us and for us, and I'd like them to stand up and be recognized. From Sony, now Suzuki, please stand up. And now as an honorary magician, Now and I had a contest which I lost completely, which is how many trips are taken between the United States and Japan. I was up to 6 or 7 one year. I think he went in at 13 or 14, was that right? 1 year. He's always with us. And from AT&T, someone who was just a rock of determination, Bill Fallon. Please stand up there. In the audience, both here in San Jose, New Jersey, are people, lots and lots of people who have worked so hard. If I were interested in pulling for sympathy and pity, this would be the moment to do it. We have really worked hard as a collective group, but I will not be so tawdry as to do that. And it's not only the people who worked so hard, it's their families. And it's time now to acknowledge all the spouses and the significant others and the children who had parents missing in action to bring something like this together. It was extraordinarily difficult. In the last 4 years, and particularly the last 2 years, has been a full-time marathon. So I would like to acknowledge all those people also. Thank you very much for hanging in there. In the audience are two of my kids, and just to give you a sense of what it's about, I have a son 11 and a daughter 9. This has been going on for 4 years. That means that a third of my son's life and almost a half of my daughter's life has been this experience. For kids like Bill Atkinson has a 5-year-old, 98% of the little 5-year-old life has been Daddy's been working on Magic Cap. And so it goes. Tremendous amount of personal involvement. And you, people, our guests today, we need your feedback. Part of Big Ears is to listen to what you have to say because you have seen it all. You've seen the hype, you've seen the disappointment, you've seen the promise, you've seen other products in the past or during the course of your careers. Please give us the gift of your critique and your enthusiasm and your suggestions. Really, really important. And our commitment is we will listen. Our compact with you is we will listen. This is not pro forma. This is for real. It's a partnership. Let's work together. Please join the General Magic Alliance. Let's work together to make this experience come to life. Because you know, as I know, as people with whom I've spoken know, this is inexorable. It's in the subconscious of people that in the next 20 years, having a small intelligent device with you, which will evolve into a telephone, for sure, absolutely evolve into a telephone. It'll be voice and messaging, and it'll be more like the size of this little device here that moves slides than this over the course of 10 years. Be patient, help us. It's in your subconscious, it's in our subconscious. We know we're going to jack into the matrix together and do something in the 21st century, and it starts today. Today is the start of it. And that brings me to Winston Churchill, who said, today is not the end. Today is not even the beginning of the end. Today is the end of the beginning. And it's truly just a beginning. And tomorrow, what are we going to be doing tomorrow? Constant, relentless, daily improvement. It's the only way to build something like this. Quality, 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 incremental improvement. We have captured over 1,200 feature ideas and suggestions for how to continue to refine Magic App and Telescript, how to continue to refine Magic Link Communicator and the Personal Link Network. 1,200 suggestions. We captured them, we trapped them, we put them away, because ultimately, even artists have to ship. And it took us 4 years. But now we're going to dust them off, not that they've collected much dust, and we're going to implement the good ones. And we're going to listen to the customers and listen to the developers and keep on going. Tomorrow, it's about tools. 1995 is the year of tools, which will give rise to even better and more powerful applications, both resident applications that live inside Magic App, therefore inside Magic Link, and network-based applications, which are the electronic merchants of goods and services and entertainment and publishing and electronic communities and all the great things we've been talking about for 10 years. Today is a modest down payment. We've finished 2 platforms. We've done together 1 personal communicator. We've done a number of great applications, and we've built, for North America, the Telescript Foundation with AT&T that can support these and many other great applications. And then we need to think about global, because this is as applicable in Japan and is as applicable in France as it is in many, many other countries around the world. We are not about changing the lives of technocrats, we're about changing the lives of real people. And 4 billion people don't even have a telephone. So there's a huge market out there for that. These are the developers. Without them, our platforms would be inert. So to them, we owe an enormous, enormous thanks for investing their scarce time and resources. And with that, I'd like to show you a videotape about them and carry on with the program. Thank you.
Everyone's talking about the digital superhighway, but it's constrained to keyboards. With InkWriter, you can take and create messages by hand and yet edit them with the power of a computer. It's left-handed, it's right-handed. The combination of partners like Sony and AT&T really makes the vision of personal communicators possible in a way that hasn't happened yet.
Well, Magic Link is very portable, small, and lightweight. It really gives end users the ability to do something that they couldn't before, which is collect data electronically. The powerful operating system software that comes as part of Magic Link enables our users to quickly create forms on the fly and then turn right around and collect data on those forms and then zip them off to the home office computer. That really streamlines your ability to work in a competitive environment. It's really the lightweight, portable characteristics of this platform that make it a real winner. It's going to really impact the way that you do business because you're going to be able to put automation in areas of your business that you weren't able to before.
Bottom line, who are the people who really use this? Traveling salespeople, real estate agents, anyone who's out visiting clients and they don't know where every single client is. That's the kind of person who's going to use StreetLink. Just look at the companies involved, Sony, AT&T. They really understand consumers, and consumers trust and like buying products from them. Of course this is going to be around for a long time. It's going to be well supported. It's going to be a great product.
You turn the device on, you have your desk. Real estate people are salespeople. They're not technical people, they're salespeople. They need something that's easy to use. Magic Link is easy to use. They need something that's affordable because they're independent contractors. They have to pay for these devices. And this is an affordable device for them. They need something that's powerful with very sophisticated communication capabilities. Magic Link provides that. The ideal platform for the real estate profession. That's what really makes this product and this entire operating environment shine.
It's really the first true personal communicator. Does just that.
We're going to ask our presenters to join us again on stage. Marc, Gordon, Carl, Alex, and Brian. In terms of the Q&A, because we have the hookup to San Jose and New Jersey, I'm going to ask that before you ask your questions, allow me to recognize you. We have a few people with handheld mics who will come, and if you would stand up and be recognized and ask your question from the microphone that'll be brought to you. Please introduce yourself and who you represent, and then direct your question here, and if necessary, I'll repeat it again for the benefit of the folks who are participating in San Jose and in New Jersey. And for the folks in San Jose, although you won't be able to participate in this live Q&A, we have a few representatives in San Jose who you've met already, I'm sure, and they'll be able to handle some further questions for you as soon as this session is over with. So why don't we begin at this point? I think that's Steve Young there.
Steve Young from CNN with a question for both Sony and AT&T. Could you discuss development costs to date and projected revenue for the first year or two?
I think Brian and Carl, maybe you can work on that one a little bit.
Okay, well, I'll take a start at it. With regard to projected sales and things like that, we really think, going along with that hockey stick metaphor that I shared with you, that the place where we should really be focusing as people trying to grow this market is around the end of the decade. And those are the numbers where Sony definitely wants to be one of the lead players there, and that would be the kind of numbers we'd be focusing on. We probably will not be looking very carefully, or we don't think that it's helpful to look very carefully at the actual numbers for the first couple of years, simply because I think you'd be focusing on the wrong thing. You should be really focusing on developing new applications like Gordon and Marc talked about, and focusing on where we're going to be by the end of the decade. So that's how I'd approach that one.
Carl, is there anything you'd like to add?
I'd just add that our investment is in the tens of millions of dollars, and we are committed to continuing to invest in this technology as it evolves. We think that the partnership and the development of the software and services will enhance our ability to pay out this investment over the near term. But it's definitely a long-haul investment for us.
Yes, sir. If you could just bear with us for a moment, we'll get a microphone to you. You'd stand, please.
Hi, Frank Bizard, Popular Mechanics. Marc, the transactional modes you originally envisioned don't seem to be quite there yet. Could you talk about what the obstacles are and when they might be overcome?
The most important deliverable was to get the two platforms completed, tested, and deployed. Those are the foundations. Before you do the Telescript and the Magic Cap platforms, it's very hard to consider moving beyond that. We've done that. That's taken us 4 years of incredibly hard work. We built the platforms, they're stable, and third parties who aren't steeped in the Magic Cap and Telescript technologies as we are. We ourselves could now write electronic merchant applications because we have the expertise. But that's not scalable. So we need to go from step one is develop the platforms, step two is develop the tools, and that's what we're engaged in now, which are easy to use and appealing, and those will create the 10,000 flowers that will bloom. We're looking for a huge leverage by being able to give tools to electronic merchants who are out there. All the capability that's needed to handle process agents, deal with the user interface, is inside Magic Cap and Telescript. And we're right on schedule. We never, ever, ever said or wanted to make the impression that we'd have downtown and Main Street, full of electronic merchants. It has to be staged. That's a business answer. Personal answer. The fundamental behavioral building block of being able to use an electronic marketplace and create an agent and launch an agent to look for Madonna tickets and be disembodied from you, it's not a no-brainer. First, we need to teach people how to do basic messaging. Basic messaging, that's the fundamental, that's the 3 R's of being able to interact in an electronic marketplace, is basic messaging, being comfortable and familiar with, with Magic Link, a personal communicator, with the AT&T service. And that's job one. And that's what we're about for 1994 and into 1995. Right on plan.
Actually, there's a question right here in the front. You could stand up, please.
David Strom. Hello? Keep going. I'm David Strom, InfoWorld Independent Consultant. Speaking of platforms, Marc, and this is also for Gordon. Last time I was in your offices, Gordon, I saw Macintosh software running Magic Cap and Telescript and all that. When will that be available on Macintosh software and Windows software as well?
Marc, Gordon?
Yes, I'd like to take it by asking someone to give the mic to our great Vice President of Marketing, Joanna Hoffman, who will answer that question.
Joanna, please stand. Threw you a curveball.
We are planning on shipping Magic Cap for Windows and for the Macintosh, and they're scheduled for the first half of next year. We're hoping to actually get it out in the first quarter, but we'll be able to tell you better when we are actually in beta test. So it's in development right now.
Thank you.
By the way, I just wanted to just tag on for just one instant. Joanna's managing that whole project, so it's important, for you to get it from her and if you have follow-up questions. But it's important for us, for the early adopter, whom we respect greatly, to feel that this thing is integrated tightly into their desktop environment and their corporate environment. And so please focus not only on Magic App for Windows and Magic App for Macintosh, which are clearly slated for the computer-savvy early adopter, the corporate person and the work-at-home person, but also Magic Express, the link that connects the desktop with the device. Our image is we'd like to see people having the same kind of an image on their machine as they do here, because we think it'll accelerate the acceptance of this thing by a lot, to be able to have easy connectivity back and forth. We also want to start shipping in the future, and we will discuss that, no dates yet, much broader connectivity with things like Microsoft Mail, CC Mail, and the other great enterprise applications, mail applications. More information later.
To add something too.
Yeah, if I could, just maybe based on the last two questions. First of all, I think one of the big problems, although it's certainly given the press a lot to write about, is the premature hype that has been generated by activity over the last couple of years about focusing on how good it's going to be rather than focusing on kind of the here and now. So although I think we should focus on release 1 and what we have, and we're very proud of what we've done. But the answer to although we're not here to announce it, but the answer to the first question on transaction is by the end of the year, we'll have shopping fully operational. And as Joanna said, by early next year, we'll have in the marketplace, as a result of the General Magic activity in conjunction with us, we'll have both Windows and Mac capabilities. But I think the story, if you will, or the one we want you to focus on, you can write what you will, is the here and now, and not to focus so much as I think Marc has been leading the charge on. Don't focus too much on how good it might be 2 or 3 years from now. I think that'll take care of itself if we do it right from the beginning.
Thank you. We have another question at the end of the front row here. If you could stand up, please.
Patty Glovsky, Bear Stearns. You touched briefly on Windows and Macintosh, but I'm interested in storage capacity and how you envision using, if you have a complicated spreadsheet, for example, how a person, whether you're expecting they'll email it to themselves if they're out of the office, or how that might work. And in terms of upgradability, since you're focused today on what this machine can do today, when new releases come out, does that mean you have to buy a new machine for this?
Alex, maybe you could start with that one.
Well, I think to your first question, maybe one thing I didn't address when I demonstrated the spreadsheet application is that application is fully compatible with Lotus 123 and Microsoft Excel. And that's in combination with another of our software partners, a company called IntelliLink, which after this Q&A session, you'll be able to see the Magic Exchange application in action. So the mobile professional can take their desktop spreadsheet with them on the road, load it into their Magic Link, and now this is all they need to do their financial analysis in a meeting, in an airplane, in a hotel. Also, anything they've created on the road, they could ship back into their desktop PC and then have full access to their colleagues through a desktop LAN, for example. So I'm not sure if that addresses your question. In terms of expandability, we do have the PC slot, and users can add additional memory, or new applications can be loaded on ROM cards right here into the device. Additionally, I think we have a really unique opportunity here in introducing new software and new hardware and a new network service to really ease the issue of upgrades and extending Magic App through the downloading of software enhancements online. And that's part of the service, part of the Personal Link service from day one, is a subscription to software enhancements, ongoing upgrades to your software through the Personal Link service.
We have a gentleman standing in the back. Yes, sir.
This is Michael Fitzgerald at Computer World. Newborns tend to fall flat on their face on their first step. How are you going to pick yourselves up?
I think Carl would like to jump in on that.
I think we're going to say we haven't fallen yet. I think we're learning how to walk. And I think we're having some very encouraging first steps here is really the answer. This device is completely usable. I think that Mark's quote from Winston Churchill was very important in that it says we're at the end of a beginning. And we're not at the beginning of an end, and we're not at the beginning of a beginning.
How do you define walking?
Frankly, we're enjoying it. We think you have given us positive feedback so far in terms of the trade press that has already been written. But the key is not how we find walking. The key is really how you find walking as you use this device. And we think you're going to enjoy it. So give us that feedback, and if your response is as positive as our response, we think we're going to enjoy it together.
Brian Sroub is responsible for sales and marketing, so I'd like him to take a crack at this too.
Yeah, I'd just like to add some perspective. We, for the last 2 months or so, as the development team and launch team, have been using this product constantly. And many, I think some analysts and some folks have been using it for a while as well. And it has become, if you talk about walking, it has become our primary means of communicating with each other. And if you were to try to pry this out of my hands right now, I would be a very unhappy fellow. Because again, it is much more engaging, and the only way to really convince you of that is to get one in your hands and start sending off messages. So.
Okay, let's look on this side of the room. Sir, would you stand up, please, and bring along the mic?
Thanks, Marshall Blonsky, Viking Penguin. To talk about the here and the then, the here and the soon, how would it work, the Magic Link and the cellular phone or wireless technology in general, so that you don't have to jack in?
Alex, maybe you could take that.
Well, I think what we've done is looked at the wireless solution and what are the needs of the mobile professional. What we've said is the greatest benefit in wireless technology comes on the inbound segment, because there you don't control the timing. Someone else sends that message to you. And so delivery of that message to you through a wireless means is critical. And we've been working very closely with AT&T and SkyTel to deliver a solid paging solution that delivers that message to you through a wireless means. You control the timing of sending a message that you create. So it's up to you to connect to a phone line at your convenience. Now, in terms of the future, we have tested the device over cellular phones, and it works through adapters. So that's not the problem. But I think if you look how Sony creates products, we want to have really solid, reliable solutions for our customers that can be sold broadly through a retail channel where we have strength. And I think that you'll see future product development to address wireless technology for the outbound segment as well, when we feel it's ready and deliverable through Sony's channels.
Gordon?
Just if I could add, obviously on day one, the PersonalLink network was built to handle a wireline and paging initially through SkyTel. But we built really a capability that as Sony and others build devices that include other forms of wireless, including analog cellular, and I would have said a couple years ago that might not have been a likely way for people to communicate. It's becoming a more increasingly attractive, even prior to the digital CD/PD kind of activity that's coming as well. We've built a communications infrastructure that at the day that those products are available, the network will support it.
I have just one quick comment. It should be clear that Magic App is quite eclectic in its acceptance of all kinds of wireless transport, one-way and two-way. And it really becomes an exercise, a calculation by, for example, Sony or another manufacturer as to where the cost-benefit, the functionality that's available, the state of the infrastructure, the entire state of the wireless flavor that they are looking at makes sense to embed into a product. And these decisions are arrived at differently by different manufacturers, as they well should be, depending on their perspectives of what's here, what's coming, what positioning they'd like to take. If you look across the globe, the number of modulation schemes that are available that we fully expect to see here are phenomenal. I mean, we made a count, I think, of 18. Yes, there will be packet radio of 2 different flavors. Yes, there will be paging, both local and nationwide, and then two-way ACBAC paging. TDMA, CDMA, FDMA, PCS, in Europe, DECT, which is the PCS standard, GSM, in Japan, personal handy phone, wireless LANs. I could go on a little bit, but that exhausts most of the possibilities. And within each of those, there are many choices to be made regarding infrastructure and so on. We've made sure that the core code mass, called Magic App and Telescope, is reasonably neutral with respect to which modulation scheme a manufacturer chooses to embed. And AT&T, I'm sure, is happy to accept vehicles coming into their highways, whether they're coming in from narrowband, broadband, wireless, wireline, private or public network sources.
I'd just like to build on that also. What you're really hearing is that this is a flexible platform. This platform was designed to be flexible, and what you're also hearing, I hope today, is that there is also a flexible attitude to leverage that flexible platform in terms of the ways and shifts of technological evolution and consumer needs. That's a very important point. We are not stating that the end game is exactly where we are today. What we're stating is that this is the first step. We think it's the right first step for today, but the platform is flexible, as Marc addressed in the case of wireless. It's flexible in many other ways as well. And our attitudes as a partnership here are totally flexible in terms of delivering to the customers whatever it is that they find value in. We will adapt.
Yeah. And finally, I just noticed in the newspapers the other day that a company called Macaw has decided to join AT&T or vice versa, and that could raise some interesting possibilities.
That has increased our interest in that particular segment somewhat.
That's right. Complete coincidence.
All right.
Okay, actually, wasn't there another question over here? Yeah. Oh, you got it, okay. Standing up in the back, to the left.
Bruce Francis, CNBC. Marc, where's handwriting recognition and where do you rate that as a priority?
Good, terrific. Again, the focus being on self-esteem. Bill and Andy decided to ask that question in 1990, and their forecast, based on no market study and no research, but just based on intuition, is handwriting recognition will not be there for the consumer by the time we get around to shipping our product. It may be in the future, so the hooks are in Magic App, but it ain't here today. And when you try and use it, it makes you, it can damage your self-esteem. So
when do you think we're going to see handwriting recognition that meets your benchmarks for self-esteem?
I do not know. If I knew the answer to that, I would tell you right this instant. I do not know. We feel that there's a tremendous amount of value to be gained by simply the power of the personal handwriting scribble that comes across. We are looking at a couple of very promising technologies. We may very well offer them as third-party solutions or something like that, because the keyboard here itself is a framework. It's an application framework. Almost everything in here was designed by Andy and by Bill to be a framework for improvement. So we may very well see all kinds of alternatives showing up as third-party solutions.
Do you think that is what has hung up other PDAs so far?
Actually, I don't. That's clearly what Gary Trudeau said. And I have to tell you a very funny story. I used one of the handwriting recognition products, I won't tell you which, and I drew a straight line across the screen, which signifies a new page. And the machine thought about it and decided that to recognize my straight line as the words entrepreneur's vacuum. Which is the most prescient Ouija board I've ever used in my life. But getting back to the heart of your question, I think what was wrong, it's not for me to diminish anyone else in the industry. I want lots and lots of people to succeed with their versions. But our sense of what was wrong wasn't the handwriting recognition component or screen luminosity or contrast or anything like that. The design center wasn't communication. The design center of Magic App and the Magic Link product is communication. It is intrinsically, essentially, militantly about communication. Everywhere you are in this product, you're a hair trigger away from firing off a message, making a phone call, receiving a message, and having that tied into the entire rest of the machine. The entire object model is based on communication. Everything is about communication. And we've been so dogmatic about that in fact, you can tell. When you touch it, it sings. It says, I'm about communicating. This is the telephone of the future. The PDAs, if you think about them, came out of a tradition of electronic paper. And as far as I'm concerned, real paper and real pencil is wonderful. It's cheap, incredible bandwidth capacity, tremendous battery life, and when you lose it, it doesn't matter. So I think what happens is the design center is a tyrant. Once you start down a path, the design center will not let you change what you essentially are. It becomes you cannot lie to the consumer. The consumer knows and recognizes what they see in front of them. And when they touch this thing, I am told, they see communication. And that's what people really want.
Thanks, Marc. Alex, I think you wanted to add something from Sony's
Well, just our perspective from having used Magic Link every day for the past 3 or 4 weeks is what we're finding is that Personal Link allows us to send that handwriting. We can send those messages in a very efficient way. Why turn it back into text? And what I think across the board here we're finding is maybe half the messages we jot off to someone is just a quick note, and we send it off as ink. Why take your personality out of it and go back to ASCII when this new service from AT&T allows you to send exactly what you'd like to send across?
I think that, again, underscoring the end user, that's technology for technology's sake versus practicability. To bitmap an image and to have it translate to you in a meaningful way, cost-effectively and fluidly, without insulting your intelligence or frustrating you, is what this is all about.
But if I may, if that technology was there, satisfying Marc's benchmarks, it would be shipping, wouldn't it?
Would be right on top of it.
Yeah. And it will be shipping.
Right.
Yeah, as soon as it's there and as soon as it serves the needs of the end user fluidly, we'll have it.
Yeah.
That's Gordon?
Again, not to beat the drum too hard on this point, but I think those forecasts are the things that have influenced some of these shortcomings. I agree completely with Marc's comments, especially about communication-centrics, but the people who said, hey, in 1993, 1994, handwriting recognition was going to be there were wrong, and therefore significantly contributed to the shortfall of products that were built based on that technology. We unfortunately happen to be associated with one of those, but clearly we would take advantage of it. I think what's more exciting is voice, but I don't know whether voice recognition will beat handwriting recognition. I saw a really nifty printing recognition that I know Marc has seen from a company called Palm at this event last week, and it really does a very good job of recognizing printing. And some people can print 25 words a minute, very fast kind of printing, whether or not that's adaptable or not. What makes me excited is that when somebody signs on to Personal Link, they're going to get, everyone will get a message from me that'll be a text message and a voice annotated message. And when they touch it, I say, hi, I'm Gordon Bridge. On behalf of my team, welcome to Personal Link. To me, that is an example of the power and the potential of the platforms that we're talking about here.
Gary, could you raise your hand so that people can see who you are? Gary Cyclo, yeah. Yes, just raise your hand. After this session, please look up this fellow and ask him that question. He has some extraordinarily wonderful things to show.
We're running a little short on time now, so let me take just a couple of more questions. Was there some on this side of the room? Yes, sir, right in the front. And if you could wait for the mic.
Rick Boyd, Mirror, OEM Magazine. Obviously, building the infrastructure is important here. Can you give us some update on how other licensees of General Magic and other potential users of Personal Link are at the moment?
To me, I suppose?
Yeah.
Okay. Today is about celebrating an achievement from Sony and also from AT&T to be able to ship, and I'd rather just focus on today. I will tell you later, and I can tell you it in a different occasion, that the standard is alive and well and being licensed around the world. I think you know as a matter of record that France Telecom and NTT have joined the alliance, and that's, I think, a very, very good indicator of the acceptance of Telescript as an intelligent network platform. Several other manufacturers are in the alliance, but today's really Sony's day, and I'd like to celebrate that.
Thank you. We're going to be signing off from the folks in San Jose, so to those folks, thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoy the rest of the session you're having there. Let's just take perhaps one more question here, right, sir, in the front row.
Hi, Mike Wald, Computer Retail Week. My question is, in a market where you have Compaq on the air with commercials right now, in which a woman is sending messages from a car using a cell phone, and given the missteps in the PDA market, how exactly do you position this product in your consumer advertising?
I think that's you, Brian.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen that ad. It's running rather heavily right now. And I think that there's always will be a role, of course, for the laptops and the full functionality that they offer. We really look at this, though, as first and foremost as your communicator of choice. The way that if you had to say, if you were going to Marc's analogy of the design center and say, what should this thing be designed around? It should be designed around mobile communications. And so everything you see here, any choice from things like battery to screen layout to anything, really, weight, size, is all designed around mobile communications. I think the laptop was really designed around the ability to run a 20 meg spreadsheet. And that's always going to mean that you're probably going to have a big battery and big screen and all that kind of stuff. But we looked at it completely the other way. We looked at it as being able to communicate easily.
Quick, can I do a quick poll? How many people own a laptop, notebook computer? Raise hands, please. Okay, how many people have their laptop or notebook computer with them here now? I would say 10, about 70 raise their hands, 10 now raise their hands for the audience. And how many people have their laptop or notebook computer turned on and working? 0.
And more importantly, How many of you have a laptop computer that has a cellular phone hooked in?
Minus.
Minus. And I can say I have one.
Yeah.
I've had the compact for several years.
Right.
I don't use it anymore. I use this. It is so much easier.
Now, all of these gentlemen are going to be available to talk to you further, as will many of the other partners who are working with us on this exciting project. So what I'd like to do now is ask the technicians to raise the screen behind us. I'm going to invite you to come up on stage and walk right through it and experience Magic Link firsthand and the many applications that exist. Thank you.
Alex, congratulations to you.